View of the Hebrews, exhibiting the destruction of Jerusalem, the certain restoration of Judah and Israel, the present fate of Judah and Israel, and an address of the prophet Isaiah relative to their restoration, by Ethan Smith, pastor of a church in Pulteney, Vermont. These be the days of vengeance, Christ, yet a remnant shall return. Isaiah, Pulteney, Vermont, printed and published by Smith and Shute, 1823. District of Vermont, to wit, be it remembered that on the 11th day of June, in the 47th year of the independence of the United States of America, Smith and Shute of the said district have deposited in this office the title of a book, the right whereof they claim as proprietors in the words following, to wit, View of the Hebrews, exhibiting the destruction of Jerusalem, the certain restoration of Judah and Israel, the present state of Judah and Israel, and an address of the prophet Isaiah relative to their restoration, by Ethan Smith, pastor of a church in Pulteney, Vermont. These be the days of vengeance, Christ, yet a remnant shall return. Isaiah, in conformity to the act of the Congress of the United States, entitled An Act for the Encouragement of Learning by securing the copies of maps, charts, and books to the authors and proprietors of such copies during the times therein mentioned. Jesse Gove, Jove, clerk of the District of Vermont. A true copy of record examined and sealed by J. Gove, Gove, clerk. Introduction. Few historical events have been of such interest to the world as the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans. About 40 years after the ascension of our blessed Lord, this remark is true, if the event be contemplated simply as a piece of history. But when it is admitted that the event was a striking fulfillment of denunciations of wrath uttered by Christ on his persecutors and by ancient prophets on the same people, also that it furnished a most brilliant type of the final destruction of Antichrist in the last days, it becomes far more interesting. This interest must be felt at this period, when the great events of the last days connected with the restoration of the Hebrews are in a train of incipient fulfillment. The signs of the times are important to this generation. For upwards of 30 years they have been assuming an aspect with which the Christian world ought to feel deeply impressed, and which will issue in the battle of the great day of God Almighty and in the millennium kingdom of Christ. The restoration of God's ancient people is to be as life from the dead to the Gentile world. Some have queried whether they are literally to be restored to Palestine. It hence becomes important to examine the prophetic scriptures upon this subject. This the writer has attempted to do, and will exhibit the result of his inquiries in the following pages. To ascertain the present state of the Hebrews must be a matter of interest, and especially the state of the 10 tribes of Israel. This in the following work is attempted. Also an explanation is given of an address from the prophet Isaiah to some Christian people relative to the restoration of the ancient people of God and probably this people in America. If it is ascertained that the 10 tribes are to be restored with the Jews in the last days, they must be now in existence, and they must come to the knowledge of the Christian world about this time. But for the time of their restoration must be near, and it is believed they are coming to light with ample evidence. This must deeply interest the Christian part of the world. It would be strange if so great a section of Christendom as our United States could claim no appropriate address in the prophetic writings, and it is thought to be capable of being shown with a satisfactory degree of evidence that such an address is indeed found, and one of great interest in this day. The writer acknowledges himself to be affected with this part of the subject, and he would rejoice to be the humble instrument of exciting a corresponding feeling in the minds of his Christian brethren. The author, Putney, July 1823. Recommendation. The Pilot Association certify that they have heard the Reverend E. Smith read a considerable part of his view of the Hebrews, that they do highly approve of the plan and execution of the work, do wish its publication, and cordially recommend it to the perusal of all classes of people, voted unanimously. Attest Rufus Cushman, scribe. Note, the contents, pages 185 through 187, have been moved to the front of this e-text and reformatted with internal links for the reader's convenience. Page 185, Contents, Chapter 1, 5. Destruction of Jerusalem. 7. Description of Jerusalem. 9. Description of the temple. 10. Christ foretells their destruction. 12. Various signs of the event. 17. 7 miraculous portents of it. 21. Causes of the war. 23. Factions of the Jew. 24. The Roman army under Titus approaching. 42. A primary fulfillment of prophecies. Chapter 2. 47. The certain restoration of Judah and Israel. 47. The expulsion of the 10 tribes. Arguments in favor of a restoration. 49. 1. The distinct existence of the Jews. 50. And number 2. Their past, partial, and short possession of Canaan. 53. Number 3. Express predictions of the event. 66. Number 4. A mythical import given to these inadmissibles. 68. Number 5. Their expulsion was literal and their restoration must be thus. Chapter 3. 69. The present state of Judah and Israel. 69. State of the Jews. 72. State of the 10 tribes. 72. Jews dispersed, Israel outcasts. 72. Israel as such is to be restored. 75. Hence they must now have somewhere a distant existence, and God must have provided some place for them for 2,500 years. 75. An account in Esdras of their going to such a place. 76. Some suppositions in relation to them. 80. These suppositions are true. Page 186. Arguments to show that the American natives are the tribes of Israel. 85. Number 1. They all appear to have had one origin. 88. Number 2. Their language appears a corruption of Hebrew. 93. Number 3, they have their holy ark. 94, number 4, they have practiced circumcision. 95, number 5, they have one and only one God. 104, number 6, they have a variety of traditions, events. They are the descendants of Israel. 107, number 7, a prediction relative to their famine of the world. 119, number 8, testimony of William Penn. 120, number 9, the tribe of Levi. 121, number 10, several appropriate traits of character. 123, number 11, their being in tribes with heads of tribes. 123, number 12, their place is answering to the cities of refuge. 125, number 13, other evidences and considerations. 128, a hint to objectors. Chapter 4. 131, an address of the prophet Isaiah. 131, preparatory consideration. 133, the 18th chapter of Isaiah considered. 146, an address to America. Conclusion. 153, number 1, the excommunication of the Hebrews deeply affected. 154, number 2, the entail of the covenant rich. 156, number 3, what is first to be done for the Hebrews. 157, number 4, a new view given of some prophetic passages. 161, number 5, new evidence furnished of the divinity of the Bible. 169, appendix. 187 gives the names of authors and men quoted and alluded to in the 3rd chapter of this work. Charlie Watts, page 85. Dr. Edwards, 85 and 88. Boisdenot, 86, 93, 94, 98, 106, 109, 113, 116, 117, 124. Duprat, 86, 96. Dr. Williams, 87, 99, 122. Pedro, 87. Yaloa, 88. Adair, 89, 93, 96, 115, 123, 173, 178. Hutchinson, 91. Beatty, 94, 109, 112. M. Kinsey, 94, 108. Merez, 95. Hebar, 99. Giddings, 101, 102. Lewis and Clark, 103, 107. Hetchewelder, page 103. Gookin, 104. R. Williams, 104. Clavajero, 108. Colonel Smith, 110. Bartrain, 115, 116. Carver, 115, 179. Penn, 119. Colden, 120. Morris, 169. Schoolcraft, 171. Long, 182. Robertson, 178. Powell, 130. N. A. Review, 81. Don Alonzo du Eric Filler, 181. Estras, 75. Errata, E-R-R-A-T-A, page 58, line first from bottom, for unite, read, smite. Page 64, line first from top, for Zach and Zeph. Page 72, line 10th from bottom, for XXXIX, read XXXVII. Page 75, line 19 from bottom, for least, read last. Page 122, line 7 from bottom, for times, read tires. Page 123, line 5 from top for fleshly, read flashy. Page 162, line 13 from top for XVI, read XVII.